Hello everyone and welcome to today's session. Thank you for joining me. For this session, if you have any blocks or your strap, please go ahead and grab them. And if you feel like you might need anything else, a blanket, towels, a chair, you can go right ahead and grab that. But for this session, I'll just be using the blocks and the strap. Now I just want you to start in a nice, comfortable, seated position. Please inhale deeply through the nose. And on the exhale, just allow the tension to release. Continue doing this for a little while just to help get you started, focusing on yourself. And as you do this, just notice how you're sitting. Are you sitting up straight? Nice tall spine. Shoulders are relaxed. The eyes can be gently closed. Focusing on those nice deep inhales through the nose. Release the tension. And you can start focusing on the neck a little bit, just rolling from one side to the other nice and gently. You can open the eyes or keep the eyes closed. Continue to focus on your breath, sitting up nice and tall. Just roll out any kinks in the neck that are bothering you. Take a moment to stretch out in the back, rolling the spine. Take a breath and then go the opposite way, looking up, curving the spine, and go back and forth. Inhale, stretch out in the back. Exhale, looking up, stretching in the chest. And you can add your hands, interlacing the fingers and behind you. And just go at your own pace. You don't have to do this exactly the same way I'm doing, just so you get an idea on how to stretch out in the upper body. Get the shoulders going, roll out the neck a little bit more. Just get out any kinks you feel like you might be having. And now stretch out the shoulder a little bit, reaching the arm across the chest. Breathe into it. Sitting up nice and tall and relaxed. And switch sides. Inhale deeply, breathing into it. And release. Good. Let's add in a side stretch, inhaling the arm up, reach, 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 and on the exhale, coming over to one side. Try looking up and open up in the chest, and go as far down the side as you are comfortable going. A nice, deep, but gentle stretch, and as you inhale, expand in the ribs, open up in the chest, try opening up and looking up towards the ceiling. And on the exhale, swing forward and around over to the other side. Inhaling here. Expanding. Exhale, coming back forward and around to the other side. Inhaling here, expanding. Exhaling, swinging forward and around. And just keep doing this. On the inhale, stretch, opening. On the exhale, swinging forward and around. This is just going to help get the upper body warmed up, a little bit more open. Do what feels good. You might not be doing it exactly the way I'm doing it, and that is okay. Do what feels good to you, just going with the breath. And we'll come back up, release the arm, work out any more kinks you might have in the neck or in the shoulders. Good. And let's come up to our hands and knees, hands below the shoulders, knees below the hips. We'll do a few cat-cows. So curving the spine, bringing the chin in towards the chest, and then going the opposite way, looking up, lifting in the chest and in the hips. And going with the flow of the breath, inhaling one way, exhaling the other way. Try to get that full range of motion going. Continuing to breathe. Go at your own pace. Do what feels good. Good. Walk the hands forward slightly. We're going to go into a puppy pose, so allowing the chest to fall towards the floor. Hands are firmly pressed on the mat. Knees are just below the hips. You can put the blocks underneath your hands for this pose if you need a little bit of support. And just breathe. Again, find that place where it feels good to you. Try to keep the arms off of the mat while you do this pose. Just the hands are touching. Good. And we're going to come forward carefully into a sphinx. Resting on the forearms, elbows below the shoulders, gentle bend in the back, lifting through the head. If you want to go a little deeper, pressing into seal. Arms are straight, glutes are clenched. Look up if you feel comfortable in the neck. Good. Coming back down. Pressing up and back into a child's pose. Give your back a little bit of a break. Take a couple of breaths here. Whatever variation of child's pose feels best to you at this time, go ahead and do it. Good. We're going to grab the blocks. Place them in front of you so that they're about shoulder distance apart. And put your elbows on the blocks, walking your knees back similarly to that puppy pose. We're just going to deepen a little bit more in the shoulders here. Breathing here, allowing the shoulders to open up. Allow your chest to fall towards the floor. Try to be as relaxed as you can. You'll get a bit of a bend in the back here. Breathing into it, making sure the knees are below the hips. Good. We'll come out of it, walk the knees forward. Move your blocks out of the way, and make your way into a downward dog. Hands are firmly pressed into the mat. Start with the knees bent. We're just warming up. Get that nice neutral spine. Breathe here and take the time to straighten one leg at a time if you like. Focusing on the breath. Focusing on the hands. Hands are firmly pressed. Head is relaxed. Good. We're going to bend deeply and just hop forward or step forward. Inhale into half fold. Exhale, folding all the way as far as you can. And inhaling, rolling up to standing. And again, stretch out the neck, stretch out the shoulders for a moment. Do what feels good. We're still just warming up. I just want you to take a moment to stand up nice and tall in mountain pose. Feel your feet firmly rooted. Spread out your toes and then inhale deeply, reaching the arms overhead. Exhale, coming all the way down, pulling yourself close to the legs. Inhale, come halfway up. Exhale, come down, bring your hands to the floor and jump or step your feet back into plank. Exhale, lowering down to the floor. Inhale, up into your back bend, down dog or cobra. Exhale, downward dog. Breathing here. Firmly press those hands. Catching your breath. Bend the knees, look forward and hop forward or step forward. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, all the way down. Inhale, rolling up to stand. Head and neck are last. Roll out the shoulders a bit. We're going to do it again. Inhale the arms up. Firmly plant those feet. Add a bit of a back bend here, reaching overhead. Stand up tall. Exhale, coming all the way down. Pull yourself close to your legs. Inhale, halfway up. And plant those hands down. Step one foot back. I'm stepping my right foot back. Do a lunge. Plant that back heel, coming up into your warrior two, right into humble or peaceful warrior, reaching up overhead. Check your alignment, make sure everything is where it needs to be. Breathe here, reach. Feet are firmly planted and rooted. And we're going to switch into a side angle in the opposite direction, resting the arm on that front leg, reaching the arm overhead. Get that nice long line from the fingertips to the heel. See if you can go a little deeper in your lunge. Good. And we're going to make our way into triangle. Take your time. Legs are straight. You can have a micro bend in that front knee. Working on opening up in the hips, opening up in the chest. Breathing here. Feet are firmly planted. You can use your blocks at any time if you feel like you need a little support. Now we're going to go a little deeper, bending in that front knee again, keeping the hand down by the ankle or foot, reaching overhead. Breathe here. And if you feel like you can go a little further, go ahead and wrap the arms around that leg, interlacing the fingers behind you and looking up. This is a little more advanced. If you're not here yet, that's okay. Good. We're going to bring those hands down to the floor into our lizard lunge, opening up in the hips, lifting in the chest. Again, use your blocks if you need a little bit more of a lift here. And breathe. Lifting in the chest, allowing the hips to open up nice and deeply. Good. Come back up on that back toe, back into your lunge, step back, lower down, come up into your back bend, and then pressing into downward dog, remembering to breathe each step of the way. Holding it here, a couple of breaths. Good. Lifting that right leg up. Bending that knee, opening up in the hip, looking underneath the left arm. Good. Straightening back out. Stepping that knee forward and just touching it to the back of your arm. Keep the knee off the floor for now. And then take a moment, step that foot forward. And we're going to repeat everything on the other side, coming up into humble warrior first, looking up. Reaching that arm overhead, make sure the feet are firmly planted. Check your alignment. Breathing here. And going the opposite direction in our side angle. Arm rests on that front leg. Breathing here. Reach, reach, reach. Opening up, remaining lifted. Coming up, straighten that leg. We'll go into our triangle. Readjust the feet if you need to. Grab your blocks if you need to. Opening up in the chest. Opening up in the hips. Breathing here. Bend that front knee, go into that nice deep side angle. Use your blocks if you need to, or if you feel fine, keep the hand low. Or you can always prop back up on the leg if that felt better. And the advanced version, wrapping the arms around the leg behind you. You can see I'm grabbing my hands together here. Couple of breaths. Breathing here. And plant that hand, coming down into our lizard lunge. And allow yourself to just relax into it. Lifting up in the chest. If you need to lift a little bit more, grab your blocks. And just allow that hip to open up nice and deeply here. Breathing easy. Keep the lift. Try not to sink in the shoulders. Good. Come back on that back foot into your lunge position. Step that foot back into your plank, lowering down into your back bend. Breathe here. Exhale, downward dog. Catch your breath. Hands are firmly planted, even pressing your fingertips, not just the palms. Straight back. Walk the legs if you want to straighten one leg at a time. We're going to lift the left leg up now. Open up in the hip, bending that knee, looking under the left arm. Couple of breaths here. Straighten that leg, come back to neutral and bringing it forward, touching the knee to the back of that arm. And then stepping that foot between the hands into that lunge position. Coming up into warrior one. So feet are firmly planted, hips are pointed forward, looking up, reaching. So like a front lunge, but with that back heel firmly planted. Straighten the leg, bring the hands into a prayer position. Readjust the feet a little bit if you need to here. We're going to go into a pyramid pose, keeping the hands in a prayer position. Hinging from the hips, neutral spine. Feet are planted, legs are straight. Maybe a gentle bend in the knee if you need it. Once you have yourself set up, reach the arms overhead, getting a nice long line from the fingertips to your tailbone. Breathe here, working that upper back. And bringing the hands down towards the floor or to your blocks. Just holding the pyramid, holding the stretch. Breathing here, working on keeping that nice neutral back. And then on the exhale, just to let the head relax and allow yourself to come down into the stretch as deep as you can. Release the blocks if you're comfortable. Breathing here. Good. Now coming back forward a bit, planting that block close to your foot. We're going to go into a twist and a reverse triangle. So that hand can come to your hip, or if you're comfortable, reach overhead. And just really focusing on the twist here, focusing on the breath, keeping that length in the spine as you twist. The feet are both firmly planted here. Breathe. If you need more of a lift, you can use the second block stacked on top of the first. Or you can remove the blocks completely and do your hand on the floor, whatever feels best. Just focusing on the breath, being gentle and mindful of how far the body is willing to twist, trying to open up as you twist. Good, and we'll release. Back into pyramid for a moment. Good, move your blocks out of the way, plant your hands, step that foot back, breathe, coming down into chaturanga, up into a back bend, whichever one is most comfortable for you at this point. I'm doing cobra now. And exhale into your down dog. Breathing here, and go ahead and grab, if you're comfortable, your right hand to the left leg, adding a bit of a stretch in your down dog. A little bit of a deeper stretch, looking under the opposite arm. Or you can just hold the down dog. Good. Go the opposite way. Take a breath. Bring the hand back down. Good. We're going to step the opposite foot forward between the hands. Plant that back foot. Coming up into your warrior one on the opposite side. Reaching the arms overhead. Keeping a notice of your alignment. Hips are pointed forward. Breathing here. Keeping the lift. Look up if you're comfortable. And straighten that front leg. Bring the hands into a prayer. Readjust the feet. Hinge forward into your pyramid. No blocks yet. Breathe here. Keep that nice long spine. Once you're ready, we're going to reach the arms overhead, getting that nice long line from the hips, the tailbone to the fingertips. Breathing here, a couple of breaths. Exhale, release the hands, grab your blocks. Readjust the feet a little if you need to. Just try to enjoy the stretch. Prop your blocks up a little bit more if you need more support. Working on that neutral spine. And kind of shift a little bit if you need to. Good. And on the exhale, release. Just let the head come down as far as it can. Let the hands come onto the floor. And just breathe. Do what feels good. Go as far as you're comfortable. You may not be doing exactly the way I'm doing it, and that's okay. Good, we're going to prep that block close to that inside of that front foot. Going into our twist, into our reverse triangle. Start with the hand on the hip. And if you're comfortable, reach the hand up towards the ceiling, focusing on that twist. Focusing on opening up in the chest, keeping the length. Breathing here. Being very mindful of your alignment in this pose. It can be a very challenging pose. Wrap yourself up with your blocks in any way you need to. And just breathe. And coming out of that, hold the pyramid for just another stretch. Good. Now we're going to shift into a wide angle stance, so go ahead and grab your ankles if you can reach. We're going to come over to one side. So grabbing onto one foot or one ankle or one leg, whatever you can reach. Just focusing on the stretch on one side in particular, shifting the hips over to open up a little more in the inner thighs. Breathing here. Feet are pointed forward. And coming over to the other leg. Breathing here. Good. Release. Come back to center. Allow yourself to go as far down as you can, bringing your face close to the floor. You can press your hands into the floor to help you go a little bit deeper. Good. And we're going to come down into a deep squat. You can use your blocks to help support you here. If you're comfortable, release the arms off to the side into a goddess pose. Toes are pointed out. Breathing here. You can kind of shift from side to side for a moment. Feel it out for yourself. We're going to add a side stretch, resting one arm on that leg, and then going the opposite way, reaching the other arm overhead. So adding a bit of a flow. Breathe. Straighten the legs, take a break. Breathe here, shake it out. Good. We're going to come back forward, bending one knee, so you're in a bit of a side lunge. Breathing here, use your blocks for support. Going as deeply as you can go, coming back up. Go the other direction, bend that knee. Nice and deep, opening up in the inner thigh. Backing up, go back to the other side. And we're going to bring the hips down towards the floor. As low as they can go, turn out your foot to help. Pressing back up, going over to the other side. Allow the hips to go nice and deep here. Opening up. Breathing. Pressing up. Going back the other side. Just be gentle for a second. And we're going to go into a nice deep Melasana squat or garland pose. So bring the feet a little bit closer. Use a block to sit on if you need the support here. Bringing the hands together in a prayer pose to help press in the inner thighs to go a little bit deeper. Breathing here, sitting up nice and tall, back is straight. And if you're comfortable, remove that block from under you. Your heels might be off the floor a bit, that's okay. Breathing here, do what feels good to you. You might not be able to get this deep yet, and that's okay. Good. We're going to make our way to the floor. Bring our feet together in a bound angle. Just hold on to the toes. Shifting your weight from side to side and just enjoy the stretch. Do what feels good. Breathing. And go ahead and lean forward to help deepen the stretch if you want to. Relax into it. And just enjoy the stretch. You can reach the arms forward if you like. Allowing your chest to come closer towards the feet. We're going to inhale, roll up, add a bit of a side stretch, so reaching one arm overhead. Just make your way into this pose in whichever way feels good. You might not go this deep, and that's okay. Breathing here. And exhale, moving in the other direction. Reach the arm overhead. Breathe. Deepening in the side stretch here. And coming up, release. Move your blocks and your strap over to one side so you have them ready. You're going to shift over into a pigeon pose. So get yourself situated so the hips are level. Use your blocks to give you a little bit of a lift in the hips if you need it, as I was showing you there. If you don't need them, then don't worry about them. Or you can keep your blocks in front of you for support and go right ahead and relax into humble pigeon, allowing yourself to come towards the floor and just relaxing into it. Breathing here. And press the hands into the floor or into your blocks, coming up into pigeon, adding a bit of a back bend. Breathe, lifting in the chest. Good, and if you feel comfortable, try releasing the blocks. Reach your hands overhead. You can try both hands, try one hand at a time, or if this is too much, then just keep the hands down for now. This is a little bit more advanced. Breathing here. And coming back down. And again, this is a little more advanced, but you can go ahead and reach for that back foot. Adding a deep stretch in that front of the leg into the hip flexor. Breathing here. If you can't reach that foot, this is a good time to use the strap. You can just grab onto the strap, hooking it onto your foot. Or you can just hold the pigeon in whichever way is most comfortable for you at this time. And maybe you'll work into this pose a little bit later on. Continuing to breathe. And if you feel confident, working into mermaid pose, hooking the inside of your elbow onto your foot, grabbing the other arm, the hand, with the other hand reaching the other arm overhead. And again, this is a little bit more advanced. One more time. Don't push it. If you're not here yet, you'll get there. Don't worry. Just breathe. Good. Release that pose. Come back into humble pigeon, holding onto that foot, held deep in the stretch in that front of the leg. Breathing here. And we'll come up and release, bringing that foot forward, coming back into bound angle, taking a little bit of a break here. Good. And we're going to repeat everything on the opposite side. So coming into that pigeon with the opposite leg in front, making sure you have your alignment with your hips. Go right ahead into humble pigeon, relaxing the body forward, opening up nice and deep in that hip. And this time I'm using the blocks to help prop me up. Sometimes we're a little bit more open on one side and less on the other. That's okay. Just listen to the body. Do what feels good. Just make sure we give both sides the attention they need. Great. We'll come up into pigeon, pressing those hands into the blocks or onto the floor. Breathing here. Keeping that lift. And if you're comfortable, reaching the arms overhead. If you're going to do this, making sure the hips remain level. Breathing here. Reaching overhead if you're reaching. Keeping that length. Good. Coming back down. Reaching for that back foot. Or with your strap. Finding that place where it's comfortable and you can feel the stretch. Watch your alignment in your hips. Getting ready to hook that foot into the inside of the elbow. Taking your time. If you're not here yet, that's okay. Listen to your body and go as far as your body is willing to go. Making your way into mermaid pose if you're ready, reaching the other arm overhead, interlacing the fingers. Couple of breaths here, keeping the length, opening up nice and deep in the hips. And again, if you're not this far, that's okay. If this is a goal for you, take your time. You'll get there. Good. Release, grab onto the foot, lean forward, help deepen the stretch one last time. And release the foot, coming up. Bring the other leg back. Allow yourself to lay onto the floor and then pressing up and back into child's pose. Taking a much needed break. Breathe in, exhale, coming forward. Relaxing on the floor. And now this is a good time to stretch out the front of that leg if you weren't able to in the last pose. So reaching for that foot, again, you might not be doing it exactly the way I'm doing it. It's a little bit more advanced. I'm adding a bit of a back bend and a shoulder stretch. If you're only just able to reach that foot and pull it in, bringing that heel close to the glute. If you need the strap, that's okay. But this is an opportunity to stretch a little bit further in the front of that leg. Breathing here. You can add the back bend if you're comfortable, add the shoulder stretch if you're comfortable, but only go as far as your body is willing to go. Good. And release that foot, and just go ahead and grab the other foot. Again, do what's comfortable. If you want to release the head, relax on the floor while you just focus on the stretch in the front of the leg and the front of the hip, that is okay. You want to add in the shoulder stretch by shifting the hand around, add in the back bend by straightening that arm in the front. Go right ahead, but don't force anything. And just focus on the breath, focus on your alignment. Focus on the lift. Don't sink into it if you're lifting yourself up. Good. Release. Press up and back. Bring the knees forward a bit if you need to. Relax into child's pose. Take a much needed break here for a moment. Allow the head to release. Breathing deeply into the back, into the ribs. Good. We're going to come up and forward. Bring your blocks with you just in case you need them. Grab your strap so that way you have them if you need them. We're just going to go into a simple forward stretch. So here I'm showing you, you can do it with a strap by wrapping it around the ball of your foot. On the exhale, pulling forward, keeping the arms up, opening up in the chest. If you don't need the strap, you can release it and just grab the foot. Just allow yourself to come forward into it. And here I'm showing you other ways to make it a little deeper. If you want to grab a block and put it behind the foot, if you're nice and deep into the stretch, you can go ahead and do that. Again, find that level you're at. And just enjoy the stretch. Find that place where it feels good for you, it doesn't hurt. We don't want to cause pain, we just want to allow the body to open up a little bit further. Just breathe. Again, you can add a second block if you want to go a little bit deeper. Just allow your head to rest on your leg if it reaches. If not, that's okay. You can even use a block between your leg and your forehead. If your head is close but not quite touching, you place a block between your leg and your forehead for a little extra support. It's another option. But either way, we're just allowing the body to accept the stretch. Good. Come out of it. And bring that leg that was straight, bring it close to the chest and just cradle the leg for a moment. Opening up a little bit more in the hip. Kind of rocking side to side a little bit. Good. And we're going to release. And we're we're just going to do the same thing on the other side. So again, if you want your strap, go ahead and start with that. Inhale deeply. On the exhale, leaning forward. Pull yourself close to your foot. If you want to release the strap, just grabbing onto the foot is the next level. Breathing here, allowing the head to fall forward. Or if you're a little bit further into it, go ahead and grab your blocks, put them below underneath the foot to help you go a little bit deeper. Allow your head to rest on your leg if it reaches. Place the block between your leg and your head if it's close. And if you're nowhere near close, don't worry about it. Just go where your body is comfortable, where you feel the stretch, so it feels good. And just relax the upper body into it. And breathe, giving the body the time it needs to accept the pose. Good, release, coming back up, cradling that leg. Bring it nice and close towards the chest. Now rocking it from side to side, just opening up in the hip a little bit. And we'll release. And come to sit center, opening up the legs in a wide angle, seated position. Bring your hands behind your hips to help open up the hips a little bit more, sitting up nice and tall. And again, do what feels good for your body. So if you want to bring your blocks and your strap close in case you need them, just start by sitting up nice and tall, looking up, lifting in the chest, opening up in the hips as far as we can go. If you're comfortable, coming forward, use your blocks for support, resting on the forearms, focusing on the breath. If you want to stack your blocks is another option. Or you can just put your hands on the floor. Your hands can go on your legs. I'm going to add a bit of a shift from side to side, see how that feels. Play around with the pose. Don't feel like you have to do things exactly the way I'm doing. Take a moment to twist the body towards one foot, see if you can reach for that foot. Grab your strap if it's a little too far. We're just opening up a little bit deeper. Again, go as far as the body is comfortable in this position, breathing, opening. And just relax into it as far as you can go comfortably. Good. Release. Carefully come out of it. Adding a side stretch. So holding on to that same foot, reaching the other arm overhead. And just gently lean towards the side. The way I'm doing it here, again, is a little bit more advanced. If you feel like you can reach that arm overhead and grab that foot, just making sure you're remaining open in the chest. If you're not that far, that's okay. Go as far as feels good for you. You can see here I'm using a block to help support my head. If you're that far, you need a little support. If you're not that far, just go as far as you feel comfortable, where you feel the stretch. If you need your strap at any time, use it. Just holding it wherever you are. I'm just showing you what's possible. Good. We're going to release. Carefully come out of that. And shifting over to the other side, leaning forward nice and carefully. Go ahead and grab onto that foot. Use your strap if you need it. Just listen to your body, how far it's comfortable going. Decide where you need to stop. If you go as far as I can go or further, that's great. If not, don't worry about it and just hold it where you are. Just enjoy the stretch. Good, let's turn this into the side stretch. Reaching the arm overhead, this is where we start. Leaning over, making your way into it as far as you can comfortably. Shifting so you look up towards the ceiling if you can, opening up in the chest. And if you're about as far as I am, you might use your block for a little head support. But finding that place for you where it feels good, and just holding it there. Breathing deeply into the side ribs. Okay, let's release. Carefully come out of that. See if you can open up in the hips a little bit more. We're going to lean forward again. Use your blocks for support. If you feel you can bring your body down a little bit closer but not quite touching the floor, you can use your blocks again for support for that. And allow your hands to either reach forward, you can grab onto the ankles, and again, if you're not that far, just go as far as you're comfortable. Use your hands to support you in any way you need to. If you're all the way down to the floor, then let the floor support you. And just try to relax into it as best you can. And anytime you're ready to remove your supports, remove your blocks, or go deeper, you go right ahead and do that. Just allowing the body to open up a little bit deeper. As you exhale, allowing yourself to relax. Good. We're going to come up and out of that. Being mindful and careful, we're really stretching out the body a lot here. Bringing both those knees in. Use your hands if you need to. Take your time. And from here, we're going to cross the legs one over the other into our cow face pose. A little bit of a deeper stretch in the hip. Sitting up tall, breathing. Stretch out in the neck if you like to. Lean forward to deepen the stretch if you want to. You may not go this far today, that's okay. Just breathe. Find the pose for you where it feels good. And we're going to add the interlacing of the arms. Breathing here, inhale deeply into the upper back. You'll feel the shoulder blades spread. And again, this might be a little bit awkward for you if your shoulders are not quite open enough to do this. And if this is not possible, then don't worry about it. Just breathe. Good. Release the arms. We're going to plant that foot that's on top, add a twist. Going into our Lord of Fish pose. Being mindful of how far the body is able and willing to twist. Hook that arm on the other side of the leg if possible. If that's not possible, just hugging the leg and just twisting as far as you can. Looking behind you. The hand behind you is there for support. It's not there to do the work for you. Breathing into it, keeping the length as you twist. And we'll release and gently go the other way for a moment. Good. We're going to come out of that completely. Repeating on the other side, coming into your cow face pose, shifting your leg over top of the other as far as you can get it. Your knees might not stack the way mine are, and that's okay. You need to put your blocks between your legs for support, that's okay. You need some pillows, that's okay. Do what feels good. Breathing here. Going as deep into it as you can comfortably. Readjust in any way you need to. And we'll add the arms again. Just the opposite way this time. You might need to take a moment to remember which way you did it last time. Breathing deeply, opening up in the shoulders. Making sure you're sitting up nice and tall. Lifting the arms to help deepen the stretch a little bit more. Good. Release. Double check. Make sure you're doing it on the opposite side. There we go. And we're going to go into our twist, planting that foot, hooking the arm, or hugging the leg as far as you're comfortable going in this position. Keeping that length in the back as you twist and look behind you. That hand behind you is there for support. You shouldn't be using any weight on that hand behind you. It should just be gently touching the floor. Breathing, keeping the length as you exhale. See if you can twist a little bit further. Good. Release. Gently go the other way for just a moment. And we're going to come on out of that. Move your blocks in the way if they're in the way. Just kind of hug your legs for a moment. Release and roll down towards the floor. Allow the legs to come down, the hands are relaxed, palms facing up towards the ceiling. Taking this time to allow the body to relax completely. Take another deep breath in through the nose. Let the belly rise. Exhale, release the tension, and allow the breath to return to normal. And just take a moment to notice if you're holding any tension, starting from the feet. Notice if your feet aren't relaxed, and if they are, breathe into it. And on the exhale, make sure your feet just kind of drop off to the sides. The legs, the hips, noticing if you're holding any tension. Just take a moment to breathe. Release the tension. And allow the eyes to close gently. Notice if there's any tension in the face, and just let it go. The jaw is relaxed, forehead, the eyes, the tongue, the cheeks. Everything is just sinking towards the floor. The body is completely supported by the floor. If you need a little support for the head, feel free to prop yourself with a pillow or with a block. Sometimes I do and sometimes I don't. Do what feels good to you at this point in time. We're just going to remain here for another minute or two, allowing that body to get its much needed rest. This was a very intense session. Lots of hip opening, breathing gently. Just allow your mind to be at rest. Take a moment to notice if you're thinking of anything. And if you're not, that's great. If you're not thinking of anything and your mind is at rest, allow it to stay there. But if you find your mind is wandering, don't try to stop it. Allow your mind to do whatever it's going to do at this time. Allow whatever thoughts that you're thinking to just kind of be there. And don't give them any judgment. Don't give them any power. Just allow them to pass by. They're neither negative nor positive thoughts. They're just thoughts. They're just there. And they're just passing by like clouds in the sky. Breathing into it. Letting it go. Allow yourself about another minute to just lay here, being completely relaxed. And you can stay here as long as you want. When you're ready to gently start waking up, take your time. Start with the ankles, the wrists, roll your head from side to side. Slowly open the eyes. Lift the knees, roll over to one side. You can take a moment here, rest for a little bit longer before you come up to that seated position. Take your time. Stay here as long as you want. When you're ready to come out of it, notice yourself feeling stretched out, longer, and more at peace. I thank you so much for joining me for this session. Namaste.